had technical problems with this board. I still don't quite understand how it works. So I'm Beth Lucas, and I facilitated the other group on peer support and the role that they can play in shared decision making. We began our discussion talking about the role peer support can play in helping providers gain awareness. We talked about a lot of times providers may be doing things with good intention, believing they're on the right track. The role of peer support in really helping to make sure that they are on the right track and doing what they think they're doing in making these changes. We also talked about the infrastructure for peer support and having peers involved in shared decision making, really kind of bringing them front and center in the process and not having peer support kind of being a very siloed function for the individual. We talked about the role of peers in facilitating the process of change and really recognizing that it is a process that takes time, is not linear. We talked about the peer support role kind of having a foot in both worlds, both kind of the peer role and the provider, and the role of the peer in kind of managing the conflicts that come up, both for within the setting and also for themselves. One example that was given was maybe working in a clinic where you're told to kind of maintain strict boundaries, and yet that's really kind of violating some of the foundations of peer support. We had a really interesting discussion around risk and kind of reframing the discussion around risk. We talked about kind of the traditional kind of agency piece of risk is kind of managing litigation and staying out of the globe, and that we don't talk as much about like the risk to the person of the treatment that's being considered, and the role of peer support in reframing that discussion and really talking about the risk to the person that's coming for treatment. We also talked about the role of peer support in shared decision making and transforming psychiatry, and making the point that if we don't transform psychiatry, we're not achieving true system transformation. Also the role of peer support within shared decision making and helping people realize that the person who may be seen as least likely to benefit can and does benefit. Also, similar to the last group, we said a lot of times this can be a person's first or only introduction to peer support and to the broader peer community, and so really kind of the powerful potential of having peers in this role of linking people to the peer support community that might not otherwise have had that opportunity. Also, the importance of the person introducing hope, the fact that the peer support role can take the time that is needed, that they're not subject to the billing that 20 to 30 minutes, or the 15 to 20 minutes that Pat had been talking about. We talked a little bit about kind of the technology and having the peer there as the person's on the computer. It's not only giving them information that they need, but it also potentially is teaching them a new skill, which may lead to further education, employment, interest, connections in many other ways. And the last thing we did talk about is the importance of providing the support to the peer support worker, and that it can potentially be a very isolating and difficult role to be working within an environment that is so based in the medical model, and the potential of people working alone or feeling very isolated or challenged, and the importance of making sure that they are supported in developing this role. So that was our group.